Happy Canada Day here in our red, Jill and I. Good morning,
Oh,
Jill.
good morning.
Isn't it fun to be on the air on a holiday? I love it. That's how flexible we are.
Yes.
And holidays are good days to be on the air because people are at home
Hmm.
and they're not busy. And so they have a chance to do, well, you know what it's like. If you have a day off, you get a chance to do those things that you've been putting off and you never get to do. Have you ever had that experience?
Once or twice.
Yeah. Well, I'm Dr. Laurie Davis, your host today, coming into you from Drayton Valley, Alberta, Canada. And what about you, Jill? Where are you coming in from today?
I'm coming to you from the wonderful Edmonton, Alberta.
Right on, home of the Edmonton Oilers. Do we
Yes.
dare bring that up?
Oh, so disappointing. What a nail biter that was.
I
Oh, well.
know, I
They played
know.
well. They did their best.
They did. And hopefully next year, they're gearing up.
Hmm.
But I happen to have been up north last week, Jill. You know that, but my viewers don't know that. And so we were off the air for a week and I really missed it, but I had a fabulous time. I
Wonderful.
was up north at a camp. Well, it's more like a resort, it's not really a camp. And I had 7 clients there that I worked with for a couple of days. And Monday night when I arrived, of course, that was the night of the hockey game.
Oh,
So, how could I compete with that? I didn't have a thing planned for the evening because I knew that would just be a waste of time.
good
So
planning.
when the Oilers didn't win, one of my guys came back over to where we were staying, the dorm, and I said, "Are you okay?" And he said, "No." And he had a big Oilers jersey on. He said, "No, I need an hour of grief counseling right
Oh,
now."
no.
Yeah. So I
Oh.
said, "Well, I'm not the girl for that, but you just go in your room and have a little cry, and then you'll be all right." So
It
I
was
love
wonderful.
your
Mhm.
Yeah, tell us what's going on with you. Look, I love your background. You're in a new office in your home, and
Mhm.
look at this. You want to tell us a little bit about what you've got hanging out there behind you?
Well, I surround myself with things that remind me of where I've been and who inspires me. And so I have my recital poster from Grant McEwen from 2002. I've got books that have helped me over the years. I've got, yeah, memorabilia that just reminds me of people that have really influenced my life. So I like to surround myself. I've got some airborne memorabilia, a lot of military because of my
Cool.
background of being in the
Yeah.
military for almost 20 years.
Wow.
And so yes, last week I gutted my room and I reset it and it feels really good. I
Yeah, it
feel
looks
like
very
just
nice.
like
Ooh, yes.
having a hug. Yeah.
Because that's what we're going to talk about today is
Mhm.
change. So you've changed your working environment is what you've done.
Yes.
And
Support me.
instead of like on a dining room table or,
Mhm.
you have that lovely space. And change is a good thing. What do you think about change? I mean, some change is hard and some we can't control, but just the word change in itself, I've always embraced change.
Mhm.
I love change.
Mhm.
I welcome it. But some people are afraid of it and resist. What about you? What's your stand on that?
Well, when I think about it, I look at my life. Looking back, I've had change all the time. With my father being in the military, and all the moves, and then myself, all moving, always moving, changing. It's inevitable. Some change is easy. Some change is really challenging, especially when it involves relationships, um, making new friends, and losing old friends. Um, Challenges change with employment, with the different jobs I've held over the years. Um, yeah,
Mhm.
it's work. Change is
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
Yeah.
It takes energy.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, my dad wasn't in the military after he got back from World War II, but his job was with a big steel, and he
Hmm.
would company payroll officer and clerk. And so if they were building a bridge somewhere or a building, he went to be with the crew because back in those days, people got paid in cash and he had to fill those little brown envelopes. And so whenever there was a job somewhere, we would come home from school and my mom would be packing the bags and the
Mhm.
boxes. And we're going like, where are we going now? So my parents never really even owned their own home until they retired. And so I get that, but it affects people differently. So I became a world traveler, and I've had 100 phone numbers, and um, I've had lots of homes.
Mhm.
Whereas my sister next to me hasn't done any of that. You know, she's still living in her same home, has her same phone number for 40 years because it impacted each of us differently.
Mhm. Yeah, I often wonder. I've met people who live in this, like my neighbor across the street. He recently moved into a senior's home, but he moved in when this development. I'm in a 70-year-old home. He moved in when the place was brand new, when kids used to play shinny on the street, and there were
Oh, wow.
kids everywhere in this neighborhood. And now it's all older families, single people.
Mhm.
There's, I mean, just imagine. And when he sold his home last year, all original. He didn't upgrade anything. It was
Oh,
retro 1952 circa home,
oh,
like
wow.
shag carpet and the mint green uh, tub and sink and toilet and
Oh, gee.
tile. Oh yes,
Oh,
and
wow. Yeah, you were
yeah,
something if you had colored bathroom fixtures.
yes, yes.
Pink, green, and blue. They came in three colors. Well, I don't know if you're old enough to remember when Kleenex actually came in color. You could get pink Kleenex,
Oh,
purple.
I forgot about
Kleenex was
that.
colored. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I think I
Mhm.
remember that at my grandmother's place. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Pink.
change, change. There's change that we can control. There's change that we cannot control.
Mhm.
And I guess it's not really what happens to us that matters. You've heard this before. It's how we handle it,
Yes.
how we choose to respond to it.
Mhm.
So, we can get pretty drama when we're involved in change. But I always like to tell the story about uh, after I'd left teaching school. I'd been out of the system for about 5 years, and I was in my community that I had last taught in one day, right around recess time, and I thought, I should go in and say hi. I've got friends in there. They'll be in the staff room, have a coffee, whatever. So I get out of my car and I go into the staff room. Now this is 5 years later. They're all sitting in the exact same chairs.
Oh,
They're wearing the same old nubby sweaters. Some of them haven't even changed a hairdo. Uh,
it's like Groundhog
okay.
Day.
How's that for resisting? Let's talk about resisting change. That's the first thing.
Mhm.
So, why do people resist change?
Because it's uncomfortable. They
There
like
you go.
it's a comfort factor. S Stepping out of your comfort zone. There's a comfort factor there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even if it's dysfunctional as heck,
Mm.
it's still what we know, right?
Mhm.
What's that saying? Better the devil we know than the one we don't know.
Right.
Yeah. So, there is that resistance. And for some changes, that's a good thing, I would say.
Mhm.
But let's talk about embracing it. What happens when we embrace change?
Well, for me, the right people show up,
Oh, okay.
and
You want to talk about that?
the right opportunities show up when you accept it, when you embrace it. One thing I've learned over the last year, there's a phrase that I read online. Rejection is God's protection, because I've had
Oh,
some changes in my life,
hmm
and so okay, then what's in store for me? And
hmm
I do believe I'm guided, and from a spiritual perspective, I look at my life from a very spiritual perspective,
right.
and so I just trust. and I do my best to embrace it. But oh, I tell you, it's tough. It can be tough
Hmm.
because it's painful. And
Is
when
it
you
ever?
resist it, you get it's abrasive. It's almost like abrasive. Um, and and so yes, it's the challenge is to trust in the process, and so the right opportunities turn up when you just surrender to what is,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then trust that things will work out.
Yes, because when you add the resistance to it, like the change itself is difficult enough, but
Hmm.
when you add that resistance to it, it intensifies the difficulty,
Hmm.
and you can't. You're in those spaces where you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
Have you ever
And
been
what
in a
is
place?
that resistance? What
Yeah,
is it's
yeah.
fear,
Like why? Fear.
fear of the unknown.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, all fear boils down to five things. Fear of change is number one.
mhm,
That's the number one fear. Fear of change. That I might have to do something different or I might have to be different. The fear of failure,
mhm.
not trying new things because it might not work out. Well, so what? But I think the opposite of that is more prominent, the fear of success.
Oh,
Yeah, I think we know failure very well. Like we know what that looks like. We've experienced it. We've smelled
that's
it. But a lot of us don't know. And I had a fear of success because I could take something almost to the finish line and then I drop the ball.
oh,
Or I wouldn't finish projects. That's a big sign of fear of success. I'd knit an Afghan. I'd have like 3 rows left to do, and the Afghan's been in a box for 20 years.
mm,
So when you don't finish things, that's a sign of a fear of success. Because hey, Jill, what if this self-worth thing really works out for you? Right? Right? And then fear of rejection, you mentioned that already. And that comes from, little Johnny putting his hand up in the classroom, first time ever, and gets a wrong answer, and all the kids laugh, and the teacher gives him a kind of a strange look.
mhm,
And you can be sure little Johnny's not going to put his hand up again, ever.
mhm.
That fear of rejection. But the opposite is true too, the fear of acceptance. What if everybody thinks I'm the cat's meow? And they love me to pieces and they think I'm just great. Am I ready for that?
There's a responsibility there, yes.
That is
Mhm,
right. That
mhm.
is right. So, which one of those five, Jill, do you think is your greatest go to? Fear of change, fear of rejection and acceptance, fear of success or failure?
I think rejection and acceptance,
Okay.
because I've been the new person so many times in many situations,
All right.
especially growing up at school, for example,
Yeah.
making new friends
Yes.
and being shy and yeah, I was a shy kid
Mm-hmm.
outside the home. I remember there was a report card that my dad read. Jill is a very quiet and shy little girl, and my dad looks at me and goes, "Quiet and shy."
Yeah, exactly. In a
um,
controlled environment, though, you see.
sure, sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to take a little break because normally now we're getting used to taking our commercial breaks, and we'll soon have some people on board who are going to be advertising with us. So we'll take a little 30-second break to get used to that and then gather our thoughts and come back and talk a little more about some of the changes that you've made recently because of your self worth journey. Okay.
Great.
The Disability Channel would like to thank our existing sponsors. We really appreciate the support and kindness from the BIAs across the GTA, Ontario, Canada, and our friends in the USA. We love making new friends. Thank you for supporting our existing employment programs.
Excellent. Can you hear me all right? My volume seems a little down, but I'm going to fix
I hear
that.
you.
Yep.
Sounds
Okay.
good. Coming through.
All right. So recently, because Monday is self care, self empowerment, self awareness, And change is inevitable in all of that. And that's why we kind of started off the show that way. If you're just joining us, you're listening to the Canada Day version of the Today Show. That's why we decided to wear red. We did coordinate, which we don't always do, but we did for today.
Yes.
And Jill and I are just here having a chat about change. And change is change is about as consistent as sunrise, sunset.
Mm-hmm.
It's consistent, it's constant, it's forever, because life is going to throw us curveballs, and we might decide to make a change on our own. And that's the change I like to live in. That's the world I like to live in. I like to be in charge of the changes that I experience. They're coming from me directly because of decisions I'm making. So recently, Jill, you made a decision to step into our first 10 workshops that people come in. We call it Reclaiming My Self-Worth. I think you even have your certificate there. Why don't you flash it up so they know that we're not messing around. See, there we go.
Yay.
Reclaiming my self-worth.
Yeah.
So what happened for you in that process, do you think?
It's a whirlwind at this point. I finished the program 2 weeks ago, and it's just, I'm on warp speed. It seems like there are different things that I've been stewing over are just no longer bothering me. And I decided I have to get my house in order. My house was full of chaos. There was clutter everywhere. I didn't want to look at it, but I didn't have the energy to fix it. And so it was very stressful. After I took your workshop, when I came home, all of a sudden, because I had an internal shift, my nervous system settled down. I'm sleeping better. I have more energy, and I have motivation to get stuff done. And that's why I'm sitting here in my office now. This was total chaos 4 days ago. And I said, no, I'm going to focus, and I'm going to continue until it's finished. And so I've been working on my home, but also, it's interesting. You can control the change. Like you say, you can, the change that you experience, you kind of manage it or orchestrate it, but change will come externally as well. For example, yesterday, my neighbor had an accident, and all of a sudden there's emergency vehicles in front of my home. And now she's okay. But she's staying with family, and now I'm house sitting and pet sitting. I spent the night at her place last night. So it's funny, things can change in the blink of an eye. And okay, we'll just roll with it. And so, but I'm finding, I'm finding that certain things that I would have found challenging before your program, I'm now able to look at it, not necessarily deal with it yet, but I'm able to look at things differently with more confidence, knowing that I have you, and I have really good people in my life to help me when I need to lean on folks. And I know I'm supported, and I see that now, whereas before I felt like I was a fish out of water, and that I was the black sheep, and nobody understands me.
Oh yeah.
Nobody gets it. But
Yeah.
I'm feeling a lot like I have less pain in my body. Just
Oh
after
wow.
2 weeks, I have chronic pain. I have for years, and muscle pain, nerve pain. And I'm finding that my pain level is going way down, and I'm able to move more. I have more flexibility. I've been working in the garden, and I thought for sure, I'm going to pay for this tomorrow. And the next day I'm okay, and I'm still able to continue working in my home, and I'm functioning at a healthier level. Absolutely, just after 2 weeks. And
Wow.
so I'm very grateful, and I'm excited. And I have to rein it in, because I know I can get really excited and overdo it when I have these moments of energy, these spurts of energy. I usually overdo it because I don't know how long it's going to last.
Oh, okay.
But I
Okay.
feel now, with what I'm doing and with the work I'm moving into, I'm really, I'm excited,
Yeah.
and
Excellent.
I'm looking forward to learning more and to continue with my healing,
Yes.
because
Well,
it's
that's
a
the big part.
never-ending process. Mhm.
Yes. And you were able to do some really good work around, losing your dad and unexpectedly. And, that grieving process is really important. And a lot of us in our culture don't really know how to do that
Yes.
properly. And we don't have that kind of uh, training or places to go where we can actually do that work. So I'm
And I
really
didn't
happy that,
know it was still there, like, I buried it.
yes, that's right. That's right.
Mm.
And trauma, there's a lot of, I had a lot of discussions this past week with my clients up north on trauma, and we don't realize how much trauma we have endured because we never thought of it in those terms. So,
Mhm.
for example, when I was sexually assaulted by a family member at the age of 12, I didn't label that I was traumatized or I had a trauma.
Mhm.
I buried it, never told anybody for decades, and just pretended it never happened. And I got very good at pretending things didn't happen,
Mhm.
right? I mean, you can't ignore it if somebody passes away, but I never saw that as a trauma either. I didn't put the right words to it because when we lose a loved one, that's traumatic,
Yes.
right? And, losing your job, all the losses and things that we talk about in the program, these are all traumatic events that we need to heal and get through because it holds us up, it holds us back.
Yes.
So we need to clean that up. And it's like, it's kind of like going inside of you, like with a vacuum cleaner and, cleaning some vacuum, get all the sludge out, get all the dirt out so you can be
Mhm.
clear,
Mhm. Like
right? You're
Drano.
probably feeling a lot of clarity.
Oh, yes, I see things from a different perspective now,
Hmm.
completely. And in some cases, I have had some anger, some angry moments. Some anger comes up.
Hmm.
Anger at how I've been treated by some people, and also anger at myself for tolerating it,
Right.
for tolerating poor behavior. And also anger at myself for some of my own behavior, and but yes, it's messy when you look at it.
Yes. It hurts.
But but knowing what I know now through just the 10 hours that I've spent with you and your training, um, yeah, working on forgiving myself, because I did the best I could at the time.
That's right.
I didn't
That's
wanna
right.
hurt anybody,
Yeah.
and I know I did. I know
Mhm.
I have.
Yeah, we all
And
hurt people we don't even realize.
mhm, mhm.
And how does that impact? How do you think that process has helped you or impacted your ability to have boundaries? Because I think you discovered you didn't have any.
Well, it's like my late mentor, and counselor, Peter Keto, said, "You need to work on your boundaries because they're a little bit porous."
Oh, gee.
I'll never forget, I still hear him, and I thought, "Oh, no." And yes, I am much more, cognizant of the need for boundaries. I'm very protective now of my environment, um, and the people who I allow into my home,
Hmm.
and and who I affiliate with. I want to work. I'm working with people, or we're the people around us are a reflection of who we are,
Hmm.
and um, and I'm very aware of that. And I've got really great people around me now, and it's wonderful to acknowledge that, to see that. I feel very blessed compared to, say, 3 years ago. And so, uh, yes, I'm very uh, selective with who I spend my time with, and um, and what I do with my time. And so, yeah, boundaries. Um, I I meet people now at restaurants instead of inviting people to my home if we have to have meetings. And I have my emergency contacts now, and I know I have support around me. So I feel safe. That's the key. Having boundaries creates safety for
There
your
you go.
heart.
Yes.
Having boundaries creates safety for your heart.
That's a
And
really nice
that's what
way to
I've
look.
needed, and it wasn't there. And
Yes. Well, I know for me, because I was so insecure and I wanted people to like me, I
mm,
was always seeking the approval. So when that happened, I became that person who didn't even know how to say no.
yes.
The church calls and says, we need 10 apple pies for 5 o'clock. Laurie, can you take care of that? And it's now 4 o'clock. And I'd go, sure. And I'd be running all over town, buying up all the apple pies to get them to the church supper for 5 o'clock. Like, no boundaries. And I let people crap all over me and take advantage of me, because when you're kind and you're generous, people do take advantage.
Yes.
So I had to learn how to decide, like you, with whom am I going to spend my time? With whom am I going to service?
Mhm.
It's just like that. So
Yes.
yes, boundaries are really important.
Hmm.
And I think we as women, maybe in particular, I don't know if it's a female thing. I know men who don't have any boundaries too,
Hmm.
but it's harder for us because we're that by nature nurturer, caregiver, taking care of others. And but I will tell you, there are times when that all has paid off, and last week was one of them,
Hmm.
because I got to see uh, clients that were at my lodge 8, 10 years ago come up and who took the very workshop that you did,
Hmm.
and come up and say, I'll never forget my time at your lodge.
Yeah.
See? So it's life altering in that way when we decide to do that internal work.
Hmm.
Once you do it, it's done and it stays with you forever.
Hmm.
It's the best gift you can give yourself.
Yeah. Nothing has rebooted as far as insecure. Well, like I
Yeah.
still have this core. Uh, like you say, self-worth, the missing link. I'm linked up.
Yeah.
I'm connected now,
Yeah.
and I'm slowly building that strength.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Because you, like many people that come to us, you've done a lot of work on yourself prior to even getting here. But it's like that's what you need to do to prepare yourself
Mhm.
to get that link to be able to harness that.
Yes, and it's not for the faint of heart either. It's hard work. It's work,
Hmm. It
but
is work.
it's well worth it.
Yes.
Well worth it. It's life saving. Literally,
Oh, definitely.
literally life saving.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, we're going to take a little break. Imagine it's halftime already.
Mm.
And this is the opportunity that you have if you have a product, an event, a book, anything that you would like to have featured on the shows. We've got a heck of a deal coming up for anybody that wants to advertise with us for the next 4 months, an introductory price point that's really affordable, and to get you on here and talk about your stuff. So this is when we might do something like this, except instead of watching those snowflakes float up, it would be your book. So just try to envision your product, your book, your event coming in and seeing it on the Today Show.
The day is set. Join us October 12th, 2024 at Carrigan Arms for our next fundraiser in honor of veterans, the Invictus Games in British Columbia, Canada, and TDC Employment Program enrollment. For more information, email us at info@thedisabilitychannel.ca.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here doing our Canada Day. We're a
Yay.
little relaxed because we've had the weekend off and we're just kind of hanging out here, Jill and I,
Mhm.
to get back on track with our shows this week. And so, welcome back. If you're watching us we're streaming live right now on Laurie Davis Facebook page, uh, YouTube, the Laurie Davis Show host page, YouTube, 5 Minutes to No Limits YouTube channel, and of course the Disability Channel. And so we're busy and we're growing, and the numbers are just amazing that are coming in, people
Mhm.
who are watching the show. And if you see it on Facebook, please share it
Yes.
to your Facebook friends.
I just did.
Did you? Put it
On
on
the
your
break, I grabbed my phone and I shared it. But where is it?
okay.
There we go.
Yeah. Share the show because I always say if we had, let's say if people share the show, then we don't really know where it goes, but that's okay. But if you put a comment underneath as well, like great show or that was interesting or anything like that, that always helps our ratings also when
Yes.
comments get made. So
Mhm.
if you go into YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel and put your comments.
Mhm.
So anyway, we're doing great that way. And thank you to all of you who are busy out there sharing the show because we might say something, we don't have all the answers, but
Mhm.
we have life's experiences. And so Jill might say something today that could turn somebody's life completely around,
Wouldn't that
especially
be wonderful? I
and
love it.
especially in the veteran community from which you are a member.
Mhm.
It's just one little thing that we might say, and maybe somebody's facing a big change right now and they don't know how to handle themselves.
Right.
And knowing that from you and I, who've gone through a lot in our lifetime and we've dealt with a lot of change, and we're still walking, we're still talking, we're still functioning. You get through things.
Yeah.
You really do get through things.
Mhm.
But at the time, they seem insurmountable and it creates a lot of stress.
Mm.
And we've done shows on stress. And stress is a killer, man, a killer. So, what else do we know about change, Jill? Why don't you share a little? Well, I had to make a big change. I'll start off. I am a statistic from COVID. I lost my home during COVID.
Mhm.
And a lot of people don't know that. And I'm not ashamed to say it. But you know what? There was no work. We couldn't bring people in. I nearly lost the business. 250 million businesses went down during COVID. And I could have been one of them. So rather than have the house go into foreclosure, on the market it went, sold it at a loss, walked away with nothing. So I'm a statistic as well. And I understand the huge change that made for me and my life. Whoa, I loved my home. We loved our property.
I saw it. It was a beautiful property.
And we, Ron kept that looking like a golf course.
Mhm.
I
And the
mean,
beautiful lakefront property. It was perfect.
yeah,
It was a beautiful situation with the lodge next door where you
mhm,
could hold your
yeah,
workshops and
yeah,
host guests.
yeah,
What a loss.
yeah. It was huge. And we've not really fully recovered from that yet.
Mhm.
And it's 3 years ago that we moved.
Yes.
But the thing is, I always say to myself, um, I just keep doing what I know how to do. And like you, I showed up in your life, but you also showed up in mine. And so the right people, and then last week, did some business with a former client of mine who sent lots of people to the lodge. And that has come full circle. Things work out. You just have to keep knowing that and trusting that.
Yes. Yes. Well, I mean, you were an example of walking your walk. You didn't
Hmm.
let it could have crushed you.
Oh, definitely.
And
Definitely.
look at the situation you've created now for yourself. You've got a perfect situation in your new place in Drayton
Yes.
Valley that
Yes.
I was privileged to be as a guest to share that space with you.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, what was the big change for you that you had to make? You had to get in your vehicle and
I,
leave.
I left Ontario in December of 2021.
Hmm.
My marriage ended,
Hmm.
and because of the mandates, this whole COVID thing has divided so many families, and it's
Definitely.
and yeah, it was a tough. I drove away from my life with my SUV and a U-Haul trailer hooked onto the trailer hitch and my dog,
Hmm.
and drove across Canada in the middle of winter. It took me 6 days.
Hmm.
And I was coming out back to Edmonton. I had a dear friend who was like a surrogate dad to me. He was in palliative care, and I was his health advocate. And so I came out west, and sure enough, when I got here, I had a friend who had a basement suite in his house that he had just rented the whole house, and I had a place to live temporarily.
Yeah.
So I was on, Jesus, take the wheel, let's go out west. And it was very difficult to leave. I remember driving away from my cul-de-sac, and my neighbor, my 93-year-old neighbor Lyle, had just made sure that the trailer was properly fixed to my vehicle. He said, "You're good to go, Jill." And that
Hmm.
was the last time I ever saw him. He passed away a
Hmm.
year later. I drove away, and it was a snowstorm, and I was listening to uh, some an audible book on healing as I'm driving down Highway 17, the Trans. So I was listening to music that would nurture me and help me. But yeah, it was a tough drive, very difficult. I couldn't dine inside restaurants. I ate my meals in my vehicle with my dog
Hmm.
in the parking
Hmm.
lot at the gas station. And yes, but when I landed here, everything, I had green lights once I landed. I had
Yes.
I went to the Veteran Association Food Bank. They unloaded my trailer for me, and they stored my things while I returned the trailer to the U-Haul. Minus 30,
Ooh.
you know. My angels showed up for me, and
Yes.
I found a place to live very quickly, and I was able to help my dear friend Bernie go into hospice, and everybody. It just, he did pass away, but he passed away with dignity, and he had really good care at the end of it, and I'm so grateful for that. And then I met so many new people, and then the trucker convoy happened, and I met some like-minded people, uh, and so yeah, it was a real challenge, but it was well worth the effort at the end of the day, looking back.
Hmm.
But it was very painful, very
Yes.
painful.
Yes.
But I'm still here, and I'm still healing.
Hmm.
It was a biggie, because
Yeah.
yes, I lost my father suddenly, and then my world was chaotic for months,
Yeah.
months and months, and then finally I knew I had to leave Ontario,
Yes.
start over,
Yes.
and it was the most difficult thing I've ever been through, I think,
Hmm.
to date.
Yeah.
And yes, more challenges since then. Moving into this home, renovating the kitchen and bath. That wasn't fun. I didn't realize how stressful it would be to live in a construction zone, and the dust and the demolish. And it was like my home was a metaphor for my life. It needed a renovation and an upgrade.
Right.
It needed
Right.
some TLC,
Right.
and so yeah, it's a metaphor for my life, and it's still a work in progress for sure.
Right.
But I'm so grateful I have this home, and it's mine. I never dreamt that this I would be in this situation 20 years ago.
Yes.
So I'm so grateful. But yes,
Absolutely.
it's been a painful process, but here I am.
Right. Yeah. Well, the same with us. Sometimes the changes are blessings in disguise. And we need to know that as we're embracing change. And that's how to embrace change, is to know that inside of that change there are gifts.
Mm,
So we downsized. We are in a space that, uh, in comparison to what I was used to, is the thimble. But every day I'm just grateful to be here. I'm looking out right now across the street, and there's this gorgeous park, and
mm.
we're handy. Ron's doctor, and everything's close by. If I need a green pepper for a recipe, I can just send him out and get one. Whereas when you live in the country, you have to shop differently and live differently,
You gotta plan more.
plan more, and it's just amazing. But we're very adaptable, and we have always been that way. So I knew we would be okay. It was just the circumstances under which we were forced out. We
Mhm.
weren't really ready to do that, but that's all right now, and we'll have another beautiful retreat center. I know that's coming for sure,
Mhm.
and I've always had a facility. We've always had a center, but this camp where I went last week, oh my gosh, it's not a camp. it's a resort and a beautiful space that has been created to support all of our northern indigenous communities who want to come and work on themselves. And they have events and they're booked all summer long for families. And
Mhm.
it was an amazing experience to go and see that. And that's all popped up since COVID, and that was their COVID project. And so there are a lot of gifts inside of the drama and the trauma. So
Mhm.
the key is always be looking for the gifts. So
Yes.
when the you know what hits the fan, I always say,
Look for the
look for the
pony.
yeah, look for the pony in that pile of manure. I'm thinking, okay, there's something here.
Mhm.
And when you said earlier, rejection is God's protection, a lot of times we don't get what we want or we don't get our own way. And that's because it's not really good for us
Yes.
in the long haul.
Mhm.
And I have always been taken care of that way.
Yes.
The wrong people are gone, the right people are in.
Mhm.
That's just the way that goes.
Mhm.
Yes.
And so you didn't your business survived,
Yes.
thank goodness, because what's tomorrow?
Oh, thank you for asking.
Special anniversary?
Yeah, 32 years ago on July the 2nd, we opened our doors for business.
Mhm. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
32 years of learning, uh, experimenting,
Mhm.
shifting. But it's interesting because you have your phase one of the core empowerment program right there.
Mhm.
And I authored that in August of 1997. So we were in business for 5 years
Mhm.
before we uh, started working on the self worth component. And that workbook hasn't changed one bit other than we did a reprint and changed the order in which we presented it. But the content is exactly the same all these years later.
Why it works. Yeah.
That's right. And it's
Mhm.
more needed now, or
Oh.
more prevalent now, more than it was then,
Mhm.
because our good friend Doug Smith explained to me that the trajectory of the damage from COVID with relation as it relates to our mental health
Mhm.
will not peak until February of next year.
Right.
And that's when it's going to be really bad. So I think people are realizing that the damage, the emotional damage of COVID, not to mention the physical damages, but the emotional damage will not peak until February 2025.
Mhm.
So when we say what we mean by that is suicides, mental health issues, depression, all the stuff.
Yes.
So we're here in a very timely way because we have the goods. We have over 1,000 tools in our toolkit right now
Mhm.
for to access.
Yes. And the
So I'm
impact
proud
that
of
the
that.
lockdowns had on children. I was at the National Citizens Inquiry in Red Deer last year, and Lieutenant Colonel retired David Redman, who used to be the director of the Alberta Emergency Measures Department, um, he said the damage that was done to children, it's going to take a generation or two to heal.
Yeah.
And the work that you're doing and the programs that I think you'll be developing uh, to focus on this. It's going to be so needed to help the kids heal and families.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Mm.
All right, we're going to take another little break. If you have a book, an event, a product that we need to know about, because we're all about promoting other people and their gifts, please get in touch with me and I'll put my contact information up. And we'll be back right after our break.
The secret's out, my nails are chewed, my lungs have gone from yelling at you. This book's been read, the contents erased, memories of you have drowned up without a trace, and what you wrote on the mirror left me in tears. A note on the doorway tore up our last 5 years. So I walked out the door and down the lane. I never waved goodbye as I walked away. So now
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching the Today Show here on a special Canada Day broadcast with my good friend Jill Younghusband and myself, and we're talking about change and some perspectives on change, and change is inevitable and change is consistent. So it's a really good idea to get comfortable with change.
Mm-hmm.
Just get comfortable with it, that it's okay, that you're not. I had I was involved in a nasty, nasty court case about 25 years ago. And my neighbor said to me, well, you'll be fine. You're still alive. You're still breathing. And you'll be okay. And she just kept telling me that. Just, you know what? Just ride the storm. Because at the end of the day, even if somebody did come and kill you, they'd only have an old dead body and not to worry about it. So they're not going to do that. So, just keep on trucking, keep on trucking.
Sure.
Yeah. So if you want to contact us because Monday is all about empowerment, self-awareness, self-worth. And if you want to know more about our product line, our programs, our services, then you can either email me or call me or text me at that number on the screen. Right. So we have about 10 minutes left, even if that. Jill, probably 8 minutes or so. So what else do we want to say around change? Because you and I have both experienced lots of changes.
Well, I want to focus a little more on boundaries.
Okay.
The one thing that I learned last year through Peter Keto, he said to manage the chaos in your life and to manage your stress, change is inevitable, yes, but to have predictability and consistency. So and he said, your self-care needs to be a priority. Nothing should interfere with it. Even if it's just 20 minutes a day, nothing should interfere with your time for your own self-care, whatever that is.
Wow.
And so if somebody calls me on the spur of the moment, when I have certain things that I have scheduled to, for example, I'm putting away all my clutter in my home. I'm making my home a priority this week, for example. Somebody calls me up. Hi, I'm in the neighborhood. I have a few hours in between shifts. Do you want to get together? The old Jill would say, yeah. Out the door I'd go. And then I would leave behind what I was supposed to do for myself. And so now, no, actually, today's not a good day. I am focused on this. I am sticking to my calendar. Maybe we can schedule something for next week. When you're in the area next week on your split shift, we'll get together. Yeah. And so just so that I'm not running on adrenaline, not running on reaction. It's a mindfulness.
Yes.
Establishing boundaries. I have to really check myself. And
yes. And I do too. And I'm very more cautious now than I've ever been. And I believe that is part of getting older, about how I spend my time and where I spend my time and with whom I spend my time.
Yes.
My family, my husband's a priority right now. So any spare minutes I have, I'm spending it with him.
Yes.
And, this morning I came to my desk and I've got my calendar in front of me, booking people in for the week for their sessions. And there's certain, like every day from 4 till 7, I'm off. That's my time. I get up early. I'm at work early. And so from 4 till 7 is dinner and quiet time, maybe a movie. We have to do that. And then people learn. Even now, my clients will say, oh, yeah, I won't call you on Friday night. That's date night.
Right.
Right. So we have to, Mary Kay told us one time, you have to teach people how to treat you.
Yes. Yes. And those are boundaries.
That's having boundaries.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because without them, you're all over the map. Your life is all over the map, and you don't feel like you've got anything done.
Right. You're just this whirlwind, this Tasmanian devil.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly.
Destructo.
Kidding. There she goes. There she goes. All right. So yeah, change is good, and we need to be okay with it. Be okay with it. It's okay. It's not. There's nothing certain situations. There's nothing we can do about it.
Right.
So why waste your time thinking and believing that you can, especially when we lose a loved one? There's nothing we can do about that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get to control that,
No.
and we just need to be able to adapt and accept and keep on trucking.
Yes.
Hmm. Totally. Is it devastating? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But you take that time to
Yeah.
grieve.
Yeah. You got to hang on. At one point I thought I'll never get over this. I'll never get through this.
Yeah,
You go into those places.
that's
And,
right.
Thank God for the people around me to help me through it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, good show, good talk, good chat. We always have good chats, Jill.
Thank
And
you. Yes.
you're welcome. Thank you for accepting the invitation and taking time out of a holiday, even.
Oh, it's a pleasure, truly.
And tomorrow we have Dr. Ramin Modiri back with finance. He's always got fun stuff. Last week he shared, or the last one of his last shows with me, he shared 20, I wrote them all down, 24 songs that include money.
Oh, yes, I watched that.
It was fun.
She created a playlist.
Yeah, playlist. And I said, well, I'm going to, probably pick one or two of those tunes and play them
Mm-hmm.
each day till I get through them all. Yeah. More Money, $1 Million Man, Madonna, Material Girl,
Yeah.
Pet Shop Boys, Billy Joel, Take the Money and Run. It was a priceless list. So
Mm-hmm.
he'll be here tomorrow for our financial program.
Wonderful.
So we're going to sign off. Anything else you need to say, Jill, before we go? Wish people a happy,
Canada Day.
yeah, wherever you are, whatever you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
camping. We've been running out to the campground because our good friends that lived with us during the evacuation, we lived with them in their
Mm-hmm.
camper, and they're camping just outside of town. So we were there on Friday till 10:30 at night with a big campfire. We were out there yesterday, came home in the evening, and we're going back out this afternoon to have birthday cake because it's my birthday coming up and his birthday coming up. So they made these two beautiful cakes, and we're going to go have some birthday cake.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a celebration tomorrow, your 32nd anniversary. And with
32nd
that, I want
anniversary.
to encourage people to reach out to you. The best thing you can do for yourself is to do personal development and to heal, to be to work on yourself so that you can enjoy your life more, and also support your loved ones around you. The work that you do on yourself will certainly have a positive impact on those in your life.
Absolutely, it does.
I'm so grateful for what you have to offer, and I'm looking forward to working with you more. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being willing to do the work. All right. So take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.